And that's too groovy.
This is actually a goddamn track. This is a banger. You guys came here for a goddamn podcast and you got beats.
Bang.
You got bangers, baby. Bangers. Let me just go. This is Coprolalia. Let's stop that.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to a podcast.
This is the podcast that says, go on.
Give it a go.
So today we're inside a CIA interrogation room.
This is the music that they're pumping in to lure us into a false sense of security, and I'm feeling pretty secure. Feeling pretty secure over here.
I think it also helps them get into the whole noir character.
It's just not. I can't imagine anyone got into the CIA without the express interest in playing that kind of character. I just want to relive that fantasy. If you want
Fedoras,
to
coats.
when you become a private detective, if you want to live that life.
Yeah, in fact, I swear to God that private detectives are like the only character from the 20s or 40s or whatever that I genuinely think is still a good character.
I love the stereotype Italian gangster. That was a bit of fun.
Oh, true. I've definitely overlooked
of a huge genre. Yeah, there's a lot in there to dissect. I can only imagine that being an actual private detective would be probably extremely boring. It's probably a lot of like spouses like hiring you to spy on each other and like corporate espionage bullshit. Just like
and also just
really
like
exciting.
horrendous stuff. Like someone coming to you saying like, "Oh, this person is going to murder this other person," and you're just like, "What? I really don't want to get involved with that."
Yeah. And also, isn't that a bit shady? I don't know how private detectives work at all. But if they didn't go to the cops, then that's automatically a bit of a red flag, right?
Yes. Well, I think that's also what you pay for with a private detective, keeping it under the radar.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe someone stole something from you that you shouldn't have in the first place.
Yeah, right. Is that even still a thing, then? Do private detectives exist?
I don't know. However, let me just
Sorry.
let me finish the intro. Yes, we're here because we said a whole bunch of bad words on a podcast about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
We said bomb.
They came and arrested us during the night. We did say bomb. We also said terrorist, and I think we even said the word. And
I think I dropped the word civil rights as well in there, and that's a big red flag.
And if we hadn't yet, feminism. So they pulled me out of bed in my dressing gown, and they pulled Rye out of bed in his little nightie, and they dragged us all the way over to America to interrogate us.
You'd think America would have enough loonies to occupy the CIA without dragging us out of Australia. I don't know what kind of effect we're going to have on the American public, but I guess they're going to get it out of us. That's their job.
So they may come busting in at some point.
In the meantime, we'll amuse ourselves with discussion of... look, we've been talking some heavy stuff lately. So I want to talk about, first and foremost...
Elephants, weights,
child trafficking.
Heavy stuff. Oh yeah, child trafficking.
No,
they can get pretty heavy.
A lot of kids.
They're generally much lighter as kids though than when they're adults. They're heavier when they're adults.
Yeah, but if you move a lot of them at once, that's a big payload.
That is a heavy weight, yes.
Cool. Well,
Actually, didn't I used to wait? Didn't I used to have like shipments of kids come in? I think I remember.
Yes. Yes. If there's one thing that this podcast is really good at is remembering our segments and our bits and keeping them going. There's a new Death Grips album out. So I want to talk about music today. Let's talk about some tunes.
It's so relevant. It's called Year of the Snitch.
Hey.
And we're about to be interrogated by the CIA. I haven't actually thought about this, but is there something we're not meant to be telling them?
The CIA?
Yeah.
I don't really know what we could possibly be, what we've got.
Except I'm the same. Like, is someone going to get mad at us for snitching?
On what? Like the Australian government or?
I don't know.
We're clearly, if anything, conspiracy theorists. We're fucking high school dropouts who record a podcast with little to no preparation. Don't know if that's evident. I don't know what they could possibly get us for, except hacks being just a couple of dirty bastards.
Yeah, dirty. Not cleaning much.
So
let's create a secret between us that we're not allowed to let the CIA know, so that I can get mad at you for snitching and vice versa.
Just to tie it into the album.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm pretty sure. All right, here's a good one that they probably haven't realized. This is fact. Australia is 99% toddlers. There's only 1% of the Australian population is fully fledged adults, and they are certainly not in power. And I don't think the rest of the world has actually realized yet that our entire government and most of the population is run exclusively by toddlers.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, if you let them know that, I'm gonna get mad at you for snitching, and if I tell them, then you can get mad.
Yeah, I'll be upset.
Yeah. Death Grips.
Death Grips. I'm a big fan. You're a big fan. I think you showed me Death Grips. Almost certainly you showed me Death Grips. Fan. I don't really listen to them as much as I used to. I did go through a bit of a phase back in the day, and I really enjoyed them.
Would you say it was a deep web of no love?
I'm trying to think of another pun to rule of threes, but I couldn't think of anything. They were obviously extremely revolutionary at the start. For anyone who doesn't know, they're a alternative hip hop group, but also probably would cross over into noise and
industrial.
Art. Yeah, industrial, maybe
avant-garde.
Art, punk.
Yeah,
I don't know. They're probably the most punk rock band of our generation, I would have to say.
Yeah. They transcended punk rock, but they're more punk than punk rock at times. They
also are fully a meme act in a way, though I don't know if they meant to do it, but they certainly embraced it and have used it as definitely their strongest marketing tool is their meme status. However, now this is just my thought though that came up with this release. It's just, I don't know, I've kind of stopped listening to Death Grips over the last 2 or 3 albums, of which they have quite a few now, I would say. Would they have been better if they had just died out? Because they did. They stopped for a little while and then kind of came back, which was so typical Death Grips because no one expected them to stop and then to come back, and it was just a weird situation. But they are constantly subverting our expectations. Do you think at this point, though...
Just like Star Wars. Just like The Last Jedi. That's not a segue. We can keep talking about Death Grips.
I've got a lot more opinions on Star Wars, but we did a whole breakdown of Star Wars The Last Jedi like 4 or 5, like... It must be like 10 or so episodes ago.
Jesus.
Fuck, I don't know, man. This is this discussion is falling fucking
so yeah.
flat
So
on his
Death
fucking
Grips
face.
Death Grips is a wild band, and they do have meme value. In fact, some people used to call them meme grips, especially on like 4chan and shit.
Do you think
they should have quit early?
Yeah.
I think you also asked at one point.
Yeah.
Well, the way I see a lot of music is, while we're in it, while they're an active band, it's probably not even the right point to even assess their music. Like, I've spent a long time tracing musical history backwards, and just like, I find sometimes the value of an album or like a piece of art finds its value as something that continues to be meaningful rather than it being of the moment. So at some point, music might hit another huge lull. Like, it sort of almost does feel that way. And we'll start looking backwards, and then we'll go, oh yeah, when this Death Grips album was dropping, it was fucking banging, and it still is.
I think
that's when we'll know that they.
People often, I hear a lot in hip hop where they'll cite, where like kind of, as you would classify them as old heads, like older hip hop veterans, will often kind of cite that they haven't heard anything that they would consider a classic. I think that actually might be a line from, I think it might be Snoop Dogg. It's Snoop Dogg or Ice Cube, I think. Or potentially Dr. Dre. It's on Dr. Dre's album from a few years ago, though. And there's the line that I've seen kind of that sentiment re-spoken by other people. That, they haven't heard any hip-hop albums that they would consider classics. However, that part of me, that just goes...
What, like in this year or just
it's like
for a while?
Like in this decade, I think, that they're kind of saying, which... I think this is just a very common... Maybe it's just because people have louder voices and the internet has changed everything so much, so it's hard to it's harder to compare albums being released now to albums being released 20 years ago.
It takes 20 years for that process to actually happen.
Yeah, and as you're saying, for these albums that we would consider classic now, they've stood the test of time, and is that what made them classic? Like, surely they had hype at the time.
I believe that's what classic means.
Yeah. So,
however, some things do appear as classics when they drop.
Yeah, I would say To Pimp a Butterfly is the closest thing I can think of to a classic album that when it dropped, everybody I knew was into it. Everybody I knew was surprised by it, which was really important. Like, it felt like a big change. It felt like a big statement, and it's still to this day for me. I think it stands as like as a bar. Like, that's the bar of good hip hop at the moment. And just kind of good albums for this time period. That would definitely be the closest to a classic that I can think of at the moment.
What do you think happened to Kendrick after To Pimp a Butterfly?
I think he actually did. I think he went the right route. I think the next one, Damn.
Damn.
Was. I don't think it was as what's the fucking word I'm thinking of? Oh, damn. I'm going off a little sleep today, so my mind's a little fuzzy. Less ambitious. There we go. I think it's less ambitious than To Pimp a Butterfly, but that
eventually you got to come down. I'm with you on that. Eventually you've got to. I think Father John Misty has done that pretty well with his span of albums. Also,
yeah.
If Kendrick's doing the whole hip hop thing, Father John Misty's doing the whole like white guy thing. I think they're two sides of the same spectrum, if you know what I mean.
Father John Misty's pure comedy is definitely his To Pimp a Butterfly in terms of scope and in terms of statement, like what it's actually.
Yeah.
The full album is trying to say something. While his latest album is more of a collection of tracks that just feel more personal to him. I think that's good.
Compare the covers, right? You've got Kendrick on the front going, damn.
Yeah.
And then the front cover of God's Favorite Customer is just Father John Misty with his head, like, with his hand on his, like, forehead, just like...
Yeah.
He looks like tired and just done. So he's also saying, damn. They're both like, oh, fuck. Look what we did. We've made a big splash. What do we do now?
I think I saw an interview with Father John Misty about that album, and basically, what was it interview? I think it was like somebody talking about some things that he said and kind of piecing them together.
Yeah.
And was just talking about the fact that pure comedy did not do that well. It was very well regarded, very well respected, and received a lot of praise. But I think amongst general fans, it was quite a lot to digest in a sitting.
Yeah, right.
And they were used to more personal...
it took me ages.
Pardon?
It took me ages to get through it.
Yeah, there's so much
I listened to it many times, but certain songs didn't reveal themselves as like my favorite or like something I liked or thought was great until like much later, until like I sifted through it. It's like when you pick up an album, it's like, let's say you're panning for gold, just to use a like an Australian... I guess, fuck it, whatever.
Yep.
You're panning for gold. You've stuck your little plate pan. That's it. You stuck your little pan into the dirty, muddy water.
Yeah.
And you're just like swilling. You're like fucking swishing it around.
Yeah.
Until the flecks start to come out. I felt like I was swishing that thing for ages, and that's not to say that it's full of dirt. It's to say that. It's to say that it took a while for the flecks of gold to rise to the surface.
Yeah, cool.
But it's full of gold. It's fucking that's where I'm going with this.
That was a flawless metaphor.
Yeah, and then like the Chinese are a problem.
There's something behind that comment. That's not just racism. That's a comment on Australian history. Everybody,
look it up. Google the Eureka Stockade.
Google Australia's history and prepare to be fucking horrified because goddamn mess. We fucked this country up and we did
entirely race-based. We
fucked it up.
Yeah.
But proud to be a goddamn white Australian. Anyway, what are we talking about? Pimp a Butterfly. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a good staple of a classic. Is like the more times you listen to it, there's just more and more in it.
Yeah, the gold rises to the surface or whatever.
Yeah,
I think that's how panning works.
The gold floats to the bottom, but you get it out.
But you get
gold's heavy.
Okay.
This is good podcast. I think it was
also malleable.
What was the fucking album that won that year? I think it was fucking Bruno Mars. Let me have a little look when that album came out.
I don't like Bruno Mars, and it's not his fault.
Wait, no, Bruno Mars was 24 Karat Magic was 2016. Pimp a Butterfly was 2015. When was Damn? Damn was 2017, right? That's what
I don't know, man.
Fucking get your facts right. I don't know. Basically, Bruno Mars' album won a whole fucking shitload of awards, while Kendrick won a few for best rap album or something like that. Right, great, good effort. But just at those kind of awards, which I probably used to be a good gauge for what albums are the biggest and the most will be considered the classic albums of that year or that time. But that album, I just can't fucking get around it. And my partner loves it, and people do. A lot of people love that album, Bruno Mars, 24 Karat Magic. But I don't see the depth. I don't see listening into it, which it wasn't supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be having a whole bunch of depth. It's just a party album, which is fine, and we need our party albums. But to consider it as high art in comparison to the others, I'm not sure if I can get behind that.
Yeah, me neither. Also, this could be because I have the biases of someone who's experienced what it's like to be poor.
Mm-hmm.
A song that's just a celebration of dumb wealth is the most grotesque thing to me, unfortunately. Even if he's doing it ironically in air quotes, like, we got money, we're dumb, we're drinking champagne.
It's
I fucking hate it. I can't stand it.
I really have no authority to speak on this topic at all, but
fair enough.
Like it seems like a bit of a weird contradiction of, like, for people who are disenfranchised, people who are systematically oppressed, for most of the music, then to basically be sort of the best examples of capitalism and the very kind of society that is pushing them down. There's so much more to that, though. Like, I understand that there's so many more layers, and that's not why it's it's a whole thing. But just purely looking at it from that perspective, it seems strange. But I understand that culturally there's a lot more going on, so I'm not gonna say it's bad at all. Yeah. But it seems like a weird juxtaposition.
I'm gonna look up the lyrics. There's something that really annoyed me about it. Let's see.
I mean, this is I don't know if this is what people are talking about, but when people critique hip-hop without actually knowing what hip-hop is and listening to actually more outside of just the small mainstream bubble, when you look at things like Bruno Mars, and then it's like, yeah, okay, this is just kind of vapid consumerism in a way.
Yeah, spend your money like money ain't shit. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. Great as a come up. I love those tracks. And one of my favorite artists, Anderson .Paak, released one recently called Bubblin', and it's just about him fucking getting his money and going to Vegas and fucking spending cash. But I don't know. That one's a lot of fun. He's got a lot of other tracks that aren't like that. I guess also for me, I've followed Anderson .Paak for longer, and so seeing him come up like that, because I've seen how long it took him to get to where he's at, and how much work he put in to get there.
Yeah,
you get one of those. You get one come up track. You get one turn up track that you just get to go, fucking made it, cunts. Let's spend some cash. Let's have a party. Party tracks are fun. I get that.
I have no problem with a like, yeah, I made it kind of a sentiment.
Stuff on a bomb, now we're here. It's not the drum sound I expected.
Do you remember? Do you remember Epic Mealtime?
Yeah.
So, at one point in their career, they become YouTube partners. They just they got a bunch of money all of a sudden from their YouTube stuff. And they released this video where they hired a limo. They were like drinking all of this fucking champagne. I don't know. I don't have a beef with champagne. It's just it is a symbol of wealth to some people. They were like just acting like animals in the back of this limo, just like drinking it from the bottle. And then they all go out to this nightclub, and it's just glamour, glamour, glamour. And all they keep saying to the camera is, Google money, Google money.
Yeah, I think I saw part of that.
And it's one of those things when people are trying to be ironic about like mocking wealth while actually being wealthy, it's more condescending than it actually is funny or ironic. I don't know. But basically they ended up taking that video down because it received so much hate. It was disliked into oblivion. It was like how does anyone think that it's funny to be the most unhumble, like mocking characters that like no one came to them for that shit.
I think for me, if it would just come down to why they were celebrating. Basically, because they were YouTubers, and Fucking no one is going to argue that YouTube is a solid career move in terms of like, yeah, man, if you put in the hours, you're going to get there. You'll get that money. Don't worry about it. You just got to work. You just got to work hard, and that's all it is. Like, that's a big part. You have to work your fucking ass off. And same with the music industry. Like, no one has ever said, oh, yeah, you can, yeah. Oh, what, you want to be hey, young boy, hey, young little girl, hey, you want to play guitar and get into a big rock band? Hey, just put the hours in. That's all it is. Just put those fucking hours in. You could be a builder. You could be a teacher. You could be a doctor. Or you could be a guitarist. Just put those bloody hours in. You'll get there. No one's ever said that. No, every time that it's ever brought up, it's like, oh, that's a really bad idea. You're not gonna make it. Because everybody knows it's an absolute shit show. Like, you have fucking no chance. And then when you do get it, when you do make it, and you do succeed and you get all that fucking money, you're like, wow, that was 1 in a million. It's like winning the goddamn lottery. Yeah. So let's have a party. Let's enjoy. Let's enjoy the ridiculousness of the situation. Let's enjoy the lucky dip that is our society. However, my problem that arises when people say, they're like, man, yeah, I fucking worked hard to get here. I was like, well, yeah, you did. But there was also a lot of luck, and there's a lot of people out there working their asses off
for nothing, and
they're never going to get there.
And some of them actually just ruin their lives with the amount of work they do. Some people actively make themselves miserable.
Yeah, I'm fucking terrified. I'm shitting bricks every day, waking up and going, I'm going to put those hours in again. Fucking hope this works, because I got fucking nothing else. No other plans except to be some sort of creative. Don't even have an idea of what particular creative outlet I'm going to pursue. So my chances are fucking slim to none.
Just get good at all the things that you might eventually. Yeah. Just like if your brain is channeling imagery, learn how to draw. If your brain is channeling music, learn how to produce and compose. Just eventually you will be the perfect tool for everything that your brain creates. That's rule number 1, I think.
I think in this day and age, since we've got sorry, my body is fucked. My weekend, I got sick on the Friday during the day, but then was like, nah, it's Friday night, boys, and I went out drinking. Had a whole bunch of drinks, and then I woke up the next day feeling really hungover and still sick, and then I decided to keep drinking and eat pizza, nothing but pizza and drinks and coffee, and that's what I survived on for the weekend, and it was bad, and now I feel broken in my core. Damn it. That's not the point of my story. I'm just giving you a heads up to why I'm all gassy, and I'm not facing it away from the microphone because
you're always gassy.
I'm a gassy boy. I'm not gonna lie there. These ones are particularly gross and smelly and painful for me. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. In this day and age of technology, though, when you kind of can't do anything, you still have to put in some hours, but it's not like it used to be. Like, the tools at hand make the job so much easier. You can get high-quality results a lot easier and for a lot cheaper with a lot less stuff. You can
share yourself a lot easier, too. You don't need to be... You don't need to work with a production company to upload your music and So I'd say though, because of that, the best thing to do is to learn a lot of skills. Like I appreciate mastering certain skill sets though. I think that's a really good thing to do if you're really passionate about it. And obviously you can kind of tell what type of personality you are. Some people do like working at one thing and that just works for them. However, if you can acquire a lot of skills and then as well try and just be the nicest person you can be, the next time someone who didn't acquire that skill set is like, oh fuck, I need a cover art, or I need someone to edit my film, or I need a cameraman, and then they'll always think, oh, who's that person that always says yes and is a lovely person and has some talents, and they're not even like, who's the best at this one thing. They just know that, oh, that person will do it. And then they get you, and you've always got your foot in like $1,000. I completely agree with you.
That's my goal.
I saw an interview with Quentin Tarantino, where he said that he worked with Terry Gilliam on a movie, or like he did an acting or directing master class with Terry Gilliam, the guy who did Brazil, and he was part of Monty Python. He directed Monty Python and the Holy Grail, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, he was saying, he asked Terry Gilliam, this was before Quentin Tarantino had made a movie, he asked him, how do you get everything perfect? How do you get it from your head to the lens exactly as, without any interruption or without the decaying of that idea or vision taking place? And he said, I have it as clear as I can to myself, and then people who are better than me at their jobs fill in all of the blanks. So he's not the guy who's creating the sets, and he has really visually like engaging sets that are weird. And he also has props that are weird. And we're
talking Quentin or the other, or Terry.
Terry Gilliam, Or
so both.
He hires. Because his image or because his vision is so clear to himself, he can just instruct people to do it better than he could have imagined, essentially. So he says to the right person who loves what they do, I need a creature in this scene that looks like a lizard, it's blah 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 blah. And this person creates the best lizard-looking costume that he could possibly have seen. And so this is related to what you were saying, because those yes people are actually what helps some of these great works of art come into being. There's a good chance that if you aren't somehow the master of the thing that you create, you will contribute to someone else's thing, and you'll be an essential part of it too. In fact, that person may even take all the credit, but they're not going to leave you behind. I think it's less likely you'll be left behind if you're taking part in it than if you were to avoid it entirely in favor of just I don't know, giving up. Deciding that it's not worth it unless it's exactly your way. There's lots of reasons to give up and just like become complacent, apathetic, and whatever.
I see with a lot of with things like Instagram and YouTube where anyone can be a fucking pop star, which is great. I'm not dissing that idea. However, I think a lot of young people. I mean, I'm young as well. However, still a lot of young people. Go into it with the intention of like they have to be the face, they have to be the famous one, they have to be the one with the name on it. Which, like if you do these things though, if you, I mean, this is funny coming from us though, who has no fame, who has little to no success in the great scheme of, in terms of recognizable success. But if you put in if you've got those skill sets, you keep up those relationships, you just make face with the many people who are going to do other things, you hopefully will get to those points. Like if you go into it acting like you're supposed to be the top shit, like I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to get you up there. Like you need to go into it, be prepared to be the person who builds the set for Terry Gilliam. Like don't immediately try and be Terry Gilliam.
If everyone on that set was trying to be Terry Gilliam, then it would be absurd and not a good product.
There'd be too many cooks.
Yeah. Definitely. I think I can hear someone coming down the hallway.
Oh yeah. Let's play the CIA bloke.
Yeah. Well, I'll do the talking.
Yeah, sweet, cool. I'm terrible under pressure anyway. I was happy to keep my bloody mouth shut, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Don't talk about toddlers.
Oh, yeah, shit. I forgot that we're all toddlers. I keep forgetting that. All right, I'm going to keep my voice down. Right, you bloody boys. I'm bloody Agent Dick, and I'm here to tell you right now that I'm not particularly pleased.
Agent Dick, huh?
Agent Dick, operating number 969. Now, we've been listening to you boys since day one. And you may think that we got better things to do here in the land of the free, the land of the brave. But you boys been ruining my day since the first time you recorded.
Oh. Wait, so you've listened to all of them?
Even the episodes you didn't upload. Even 1 through 5. I was there, boys. I was listening. That actually makes you our biggest fan, so I'm very glad to meet you, Mr. Agent Dick. What's your first name? Van Dyke. Van Dyke Dick. Agent Van Dyke Dick. Cannot stress that enough. I for a fact even know that you boys don't have copies of those original episodes, and I know that those are your most incriminating. Back before you even had a sliver of...
You seem to have cracked up a bit.
That's just the PTSD. I've been in the field, boys.
Shit.
Bomb threats, terrorism, real world issues. These are the things I deal with every day at my job. And I go home to my loving wife and my children, and I'm looking for a podcast to listen to that gets me away from this shit. And you boys can't keep your goddamn mouths shut. Talking about goddamn women's rights. Goddamn terrorists, goddamn culture. I just want to hear about the new Star Wars film. You boys have gotten yourself into a whole heap of trouble.
We discussed the latest Star Wars film.
Not to my liking. I thought it was a fantastic film. The characters were deep. The relationships were there. You seem to think that they weren't developed. The romance between Rose and Finn was palpable.
Did you know that
palpable?
Did you know that Australia was actually run by toddlers?
Hang on. We have bigger. We do have plenty of fish on our plate, so to say. But did you say toddlers?
Yeah.
Are you telling me an entire nation, considered our ally, is run by infant human beings? Barely able to stand. Barely able to form a sentence?
I'm not supposed to tell you, but you seem really stressed out in your job, and I thought I could throw you a little bone there.
Goddamn 911 retaliation couldn't wait. This is huge. We've been talking to you. We've been talking to your prime minister, whatever his name is. Turncow? Is that his name? Alfred Turncow? Cow turn around, do the hokey pokey one more time now.
Yeah.
And he's not even a full grown man.
No.
God damn. We've been on this for years. We always knew there was something wrong with that country. Down, under, upside down, turned around, do the hokey pokey. Well, I'm old. This is the big break I need, boys.
What actually happened during 9/11, by the way?
Oh, man. I shouldn't talk about it, but you threw me a bone, I'll throw you a bone as well. Man, the effort we went into, we thought of every detail. We did such a bang-up job, we forgot ourselves. We forgot that we did it. That's how good it was. Man, we thought of everything. Man, the melting point of beams, we thought of that. We double-checked it twice. We looked it up in a book, an old dusty book. A book? Everything's true in books. That's one thing I learned in the CIA. You can always trust a book.
Well, are you going to charge us, Mr. Dick?
Boys, my career has been on the toilet, in the toilet, on the toilet, taking a shit for 35 years. And I started when I was 5. This is just the break I need to get out of this goddamn hellhole and move up the ranks. I'm gonna be goddamn president. I'm gonna be president of the United States, because you know what? Anything's possible in Trump land.
I'll vote for you.
Boys, I'm gonna have to head out this door. I'm gonna get this all tidied up. I'm gonna find out some forms from a book. I'm gonna get them signed up. You guys, you're gonna be out of here. Don't you worry. You boys have done me a great service, and in turn, America. You boys finish your podcast. I'll be right.
Genuinely, I'm empathizing for you, Mr. Dick.
Laughter of joy, I'm sure. I trust you now.
Yes,
don't you
sure.
worry. I'm gonna have myself a victory tug. I'll be out of here. Well, I was really ready to be angry at you there, but that
might have saved us.
I seem to have saved our goddamn skin.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not too worried. Australia's a bit of a shithole at times anyway.
I definitely snitched without even a heartbeat, though.
That wasn't even under duress or anything.
No,
he
wasn't pressing me for it. I just sort of.
He didn't get the boards out. Didn't get the water out. None of that. He didn't even tickle. He didn't even tickle you.
I didn't even think about the water boards.
It could have gone so much worse.
Yeah, holy shit.
Good thing we got someone who's been fucking flailing for 35 years.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I appealed to his nature, poor man. He's working for a broken system.
Well, you got us out of another pickle, Giles.
Glad I did.
I appreciate that.
That's alright.
What were we talking about before all this?
I
can't believe he likes. I can't believe he liked the Star Wars. I can't believe he liked Star Wars recently.
It's because it subverted expectations, and he likes the old subversions. It seems.
He mentioned that one though. He mentioned Return of the Jedi. I watched Return of the Jedi the other day. Like he mentioned the relationship between Rose and Finn, and I watched that the other day. And then we fucking say, I fucking hope he's fucking turned the cameras off or something, because I don't want him to hear this. But
oh yeah, you didn't like it?
It was worse the second time, I have to say. When I first watched it in the cinema, I laughed openly at several parts. And I walked out during the casino scene. I went to the toilet for a good long while, took my sweet ass time, checked Instagram and shit like that.
So you got to see it this time?
Yeah, I saw the Instagram. I saw that bit, which was way shorter than I thought. I thought I was gone for longer in the toilet, but then I came back and... What is wrong with me?
They squeeze a lot into a short amount of time.
That's the whole problem with that film, and with, I would say, modern Hollywood films in general. Is who was I talking to? I was talking to the barista at work today about it, and he just kind of really summed it up well. Is that they just tell you that there's relationships. They tell you that there's characters. Like they don't actually develop them in any way. They don't show you these people developing or feeling a connection. They just tell you that Rose and Finn are in love now because they saved some animals on this planet. But that's not really enough to actually show a true connection.
It's not good. Yeah.
Because they don't really have any real dialogue except for like telling them the plan and then working through the plan while they're on the planet, and then they get back and they're straight into a new fight. Like there's no actual banter, there's no like real connection building dialogue between the two, and that's just one connection through the film. Like all the other characters are just so underdeveloped, and their relationships are so underdeveloped, and we're humans. We like big explosions, we like cool fighters and cool sets and stuff like that, and I loved it as a kid. It was a lot of fun, and I'm really into that. Still now, I want that. I have to have that in my Star Wars films. I need guns and explosions and cool shit. But if I don't give two shits about the characters, then it just means nothing, and I might as well just watch a compilation on YouTube.
Or you can go on the fan fiction side of things and just like... look at people drawing pictures of Rose and Finn as anime lovers.
Hey, did I mention last time? Can't remember when I saw this. Basically, so I saw this this Twitter group. I don't know what they are, but they're a collection of of, that's a silly thing to say, I don't know what they are, but here's exactly what they are. Is a group of writers and producers that they've kind of banded together on Twitter and other places, and they're trying to get the attention of Disney because they want to remake The Last Jedi, and they're fully serious. They're trying to get funding from Disney, and they're trying to put together a script and everything, and they somehow think Disney's going to go for it. How absurd is that? How could they possibly think Disney would give them the chance to remake a film that they've already they've released and already have sequels in the works? Like, it just makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, it's I can appreciate they're trying to do it though.
They just
there's something about it that just Disney are on I was gonna say suicide watch, but that's not accurate. They're on cleanup duty at the moment, I think, because the sales dropped for Solo or whatever.
Yeah.
People were not happy about The Last Jedi. There's probably enough people out there who weren't that happy about The Force Awakens as well. To make them go, okay, maybe this Star Wars IP is actually a little bit like we can't really do much with it.
Yeah.
Or like we don't have the freedom we thought we had.
Yeah. Out of any franchise, like even Star Trek, I reckon you can get, and I don't know much about Star Trek, but it seems like you can probably get away with more. Like there's more versions of it. There's alterations and different versions. I'm going to use that word again. There's different versions that they've done that each has their own fan base, and I'm sure there's plenty of frustration, plenty of hatred, and thinking like, man, they fucking ruined Star Trek with the new generation. Star Wars is like untouchable. The fucking amount of hatred if you fuck up one goddamn thing. And like I hate the movies. But hatred towards the actors, hatred towards even Disney. I'm like, look, it could never do it. It was never going to happen. It was never going to be the same movie that you watched when you were fucking 14. Back when you went and saw A New Hope. I mean, I don't know, how old would that make you if you saw it when you were 14? Regardless.
Like 67 or some weird...
Okay, I don't think those are the people who are angry online. Actually, that's another point, actually, perhaps, as well. That like most people who are angry at these films, how old were they when the originals came out? Like, I can only imagine that most people who are pissed off online are between somewhere maybe like 20s... No, probably young, maybe even younger. I don't know.
Huh.
So we grew up with Star Wars, but we grew up with Star Wars video games, and we grew up on Star Wars 1, 2, and 3. 4, 5, and 6 were kind of the retro versions of it in our eyes. And when we grew up, we could realize just as films, they were much better. But we grew up on shit, Star Wars. We grew up on the broken version of Star Wars that has existed for like 20 years.
Everyone hated pod racing, yet probably the best Star Wars game was a pod racing game. I
can't really think. Maybe Jedi Academy. Jedi Academy was fucking incredible. The whole Jedi series was good. But yeah, pod racing for sure. But that's why I liked Star Wars. I don't like it for its complex storytelling or its even the characters a lot of the time. Like, it just was a fun, silly setting to explore these different avenues, especially in games. That's why the games work so well, because you could just take so many different roads with it, which is just fun. And you had the Force. That was a great tool for gameplay, things like that.
Yeah.
But why are we getting so worked up over these movies? And I'm doing it now too. I'm part of the conversation. I'm doing exactly.
Why are we getting so mad about this?
Can everybody calm down?
Well, I tell you what. So let's take a look at some other countries in the world and how they react to people shitting on their culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at anyone who's like a hardcore Islamist.
Yeah.
You don't depict Muhammad, and you don't criticize the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
For I'd say like big Star Wars fans, people who grew up with as Star Wars being the myth of their lives. It's like someone if someone purchased the rights to the Torah or the Quran or the Bible, although some people do make religious movies about those books. Say someone took the Bible and the story of Jesus' crucifixion and they made it into like an 80s throwback thing. Like
yes.
Jesus is wearing like a fucking like popped collar.
Yeah.
And he drives like a fucking
car.
I don't know. Car,
80s,
yeah, he drives
car.
a car. and like but on top of all that, it wasn't even good.
Yeah.
People would go, "This is trash. Get this out of my face. You're shitting on a thing that is sacred, and you're not even doing a good job of it." And I think that's just how people feel about Star Wars. And if you think it's like an extreme connection, this is you as in the audience. If anyone in the audience thinks that's a bit of an extreme connection to be making, religion and Star Wars, to some people it's totally not.
Yeah.
To some people, they haven't read the Bible. They haven't read the Quran. They're not going to. However, they've seen Star Wars a billion times. It's way more sacred to them than some of these other archetypes that are religiously evoked.
Well, your reality is just whatever you learn as a child for the most part. Like that's why it's so hard to break away from religion when you're older, or to
it's deeply rooted.
To relearn. Fuck, it's even like why you see people who just jump to hate on anyone, hate on gays, hate on other races, like
because in Star Wars, Luke hated gays.
As a child, if your parents teach you that this is your reality, that these things are the truth, then it's really hard to break away from them. Thank fuck that we are slowly changing people's realities. And moving forward towards acceptance. That's such a fucking fucking goddamn thin ice way of addressing what we're talking about.
And I also want to
stepping on
say
goddamn
that
eggshells.
the final message for our analysis of Star Wars is Trump 2020.
Did you see that? Kim Kardashian said she's not ruling it out. She's not ruling out the idea that she might run.
Yeah, go for it.
Imagine if her and Kanye ran separately. What would happen? One would have to win.
Every little detail of their marriage would be fucking blown up.
It would be a beautiful, perfect... It'd be the best, most American thing ever to happen, is for going from Donald Trump. It's like, how do we top this? Kim and fucking Kanye run and oppose each other, and we all have to watch the debates. We have to watch the presidential debates and try and take it seriously with these two people who are married. That's probably illegal as well. You probably can't be married to one of the other candidates.
Oh, wow, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. And they probably wouldn't be on opposite sides. It wouldn't be like they'd probably go up against each other in the within the Democratic Party or whatever.
Yeah, true.
Because they'd both be Democratic.
Maybe.
No, what
are
the parties again?
I don't remember. Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah, they'd be Democratic, and they'd be both nominated, but they'd have to fight each other for the title as Democratic representative or whatever.
Anyway, basically,
I think it's fine, and in fact, I got really annoyed because I saw pictures. Because I mean, I already think Neil deGrasse Tyson is like just a fucking bit of a dickhead.
Yeah.
But I saw an image that it said Kim Kardashian may run for president in 2020 or whatever, and it's just a tweet from Neil deGrasse Tyson that just says, "Not even science can explain this shit."
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And I was just like, okay, you've got a whole lot of people laughing at this because they think, like, yeah, Mr. Science Man has made a sick burn But it's like fuck off.
Yeah.
Why can't she run for president? Like, why can't anybody run for president? Isn't that the point of it? Is she so stupid? Like, what?
Well, it's the same reason that people voted Trump in. Like, people obviously, like, you would look as an outsider and go, no, he can't do that job. What as a country are you doing voting that motherfucker in? But everyone who voted for him was like, no, he ran all of these businesses really, really well, which obviously that's arguable, but regardless, that's what they think. They think, this guy's a great businessman, he'll run a country well too. You could probably make the same argument for Kim Kardashian, because she's mastered success. She's mastered marketing and like putting herself out there as a product and cashing in. She clearly knows has to be a savvy business person. I can't imagine she would have gotten where she is without some degree of
I would say that there's also quite a few more reasons Trump got in as well. He represented to a lot of people the sort of change that America needed.
Yeah.
None of these like Jewish bank pocket people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also, I think the exact reason that Hillary Clinton had a shot over Bernie Sanders is because there's this really big social justice narrative going on where it's time for a female president, even if she's way more evil and is not caring even close to the amount that Bernie Sanders did and still does. The next president's going to be a woman, so whatever, Kim has a chance then, if that still exists, which it probably definitely does.
Oh, for sure. And it'd be a black woman as well, so that would be
true,
fucking double whammy. But and I for the record, I understand that thinking, because I do believe that we do need to put.
It's time.
It is time, because you need to show the next generation of young girls that are growing up now that women have just as much of a place in this world as men. Like, I think that's the most important thing.
Oh, it's so absolutely true. Oh my gosh.
However, that can't be the first reason you're doing that. Putting Kim Kardashian into power.
Just having her there will be.
That's a weird position to be having that discussion in, though. Like,
in a CIA interrogation room.
Of all places.
They're probably listening to us.
Just quickly, I didn't want to talk about anything too heavy in terms of the social change that's been the main topic of Australia at the moment due to the murder that happened. Anyway, regardless, there's obviously been
okay.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And for the listeners, there was a. You know what? I'm gonna set up the point like this. Basically, I watched a Netflix special, which is Hannah Gadsby's latest comedy special. Comedy is a strong word for that, or no, a weird word for that, because it's definitely funny. There's a lot of comedy in it, but it's also half a lecture, which is super important to hear, I think.
Yeah, cool.
But it kind of really illustrated a point to me that I'd kind of had this basic idea already, but she put it in such a way that really kind of cleaned it up for me. Because I've had this discussion with people in the arts about trying to get more women involved in the arts, and it's people who are already involved in the arts kind of get frustrated because they're like, well, I've already put in all this time and effort. I agree that I think women need to have a place, women need to have a voice, and we need to get them as involved as possible. But at the same time, I've worked really, really hard to get to where I am, and I don't want to lose that position just because of this social justice agenda. However,
yeah.
Then I watched this special, and I had already thought, but we need to just show that it's possible and that it's normal to have women in those spots. That's actually really important. And then that was kind of the main topic of Hannah Gadsby's special, is the stories that we tell are the most powerful things. That's what we live our lives by. And that's why I think it's actually great.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I don't like the new Star Wars films, the fact that the main character is Rey, a woman, and not really addressed so much as a woman, you know, like she's just the hero for this story. It's not a huge thing like, oh, she's a bloody woman and she's wielding a lightsaber. That's crazy. No, it's just she's just the hero of the story. That's all it is. That's super important because that teaches the next generation of young girls that that's just fine. That's normal. That's not a thing to be.
Which thing? The myth or to be a female actor in a lead role?
Okay, well, there's multiple things. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
because I mean, I would argue that you can adopt the myth that a man is playing out, and I can adopt the myths that women play out. That's how I feel.
Yeah, for sure.
I do understand it has more of an impact if it is an actual woman that they're watching.
I think a lot of people can, and I that was another thing I was thinking about with Hannah Gadsby's thing is, she doesn't represent me in any way because she is a gay woman who grew up in Tasmania, and I'm a white cis guy. However, I can relate a lot of the way she feels to what I feel in certain circumstances. Doesn't represent anywhere near the same situations, but I can just empathize and feel something. I can relate certain things that she'll say, like, oh yeah, that kind of relates to this in my life. But I think for a lot of people, it's really important to see because they're told. Because for me, it's easy because I was never told that I have to feel a certain way. I mean, I was to a degree. But nothing compared to a woman or a person of color or anything like that. So if you're told your entire life that you are supposed to act a certain way and you have certain roles to play in society, then it is important to see people who look like yourself represented. So it kind of breaks that down, and you just feel like it's just normal. It's just normal for people like me to be in that position. And then later they'll just see it as a normal person. Once this all becomes normalized and everyone is represented and everything feels fine, then you will relate to everybody. Everyone will be represented just by anybody, perhaps.
And I have a feeling that because what you're saying now is a similar lens that I was talking about. We'll view music that released now in 10 years or 20 years with the new lens of, is it still relevant or interesting and meaningful? Will we look back? I think one of the guys from... Have you ever heard of the comedy duo Key and Peele? Yeah. Well, they do... one of them, the Key guy, I can't remember his first name. Yeah. He said in an interview, this interview I saw on YouTube, I hope that one day people look back at our show and then they don't laugh. Because the joke right now is, look at what these black guys are doing. They're pretending to be white people. Yeah. Eventually that will be so normal that it won't be a joke. That's what he hopes. That's what he wants.
Huh. I like that. I like that idea.
And people will still look back at The Last Jedi and think that the Rose Finn thing is still dumb. They're still going to think it's dumb.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it for the episode.
Yeah.
Well, I think we wrapped it up.
Vote for Donald Trump.
And Kim. Vote twice. Vote once as a Russian, vote once as American.
I just thought, just combine their names to Cump. Vote Cump.
This has been Coprolalia. The only podcast